analysis of an instep soccer kick. I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview and then we'll get into the information. The ability to kick a ball is a basic need to play soccer. Knowing how to kick a ball helps passing, scoring, and cleaning the ball. In this presentation, I will go over an instep kick and I will go over the crucial movements to perform an efficient and accurate inner skill while preventing injury. In this section, I will talk about the motor skills. The main muscles are the hip flexors and the knee extensors. The hip flexors are made up of the iliacus, fossis major, rectus femoris, sartorius, and the pectineus. The knee extensors are made up of the vastus lateralis, vastus medius, and vastus intermedius. The instep kick is classified as an open chain movement because only the support leg is a fixed limb during this skill, and it is also a simultaneous but sequential motion because the order of each movement is very critical. Next are the movement phases of an instep kick. The 5 movement phases are preparation, backswing, limb cocking, acceleration, and the follow-through. The preparation phase is when the athlete is running or getting to the ball. This phase ends when the support leg is placed laterally to the ball, so when it is planted, and this is also where the angle and the velocity begin. Next is the backswing. This is when the kicking leg moves backwards or causing the hip to extend and the knee to flex, leading to the production of elastic energy. Next is the limb cocking phase. This is when the kicking leg has reached maximal backward displacement and begins the forward motion with acceleration. When we start with acceleration, the next phase is acceleration, and like I mentioned before, this is when the kicking leg starts to move forward, and this phase ends at the leg making contact with the ball, releasing the energy. Lastly is the follow-through. This is when the leg continues in motion after kicking, causing the hamstrings to eccentrically contract to slow the leg down. There is 3 main joint actions. The main joints involved are the knee joint, ankle joint, and the hip joint. Starting with the hip joint, the hip is a ball and socket joint. It is primarily flexed and also focuses on medial rotation. The prime movers are the rectus femoris and the iliopsoas. The hip performs an eccentric contraction. Next is the knee joint. The knee joint is also known as a hinge joint. It starts in flexion from the backswing, and then it rapidly goes into extension with acceleration. The prime movers are the quadriceps femoris, and this concentrically contracts for extension. The ankle joint is also known as a hinge joint, and it moves from dorsiflexion to plantar flexion. Once it is in plantar flexion, the ankle is contracting, and this is creating a rigid lever system. It is important for the ankle to be in plantar flexion because this is getting the ankle to make contact with the ball so it won't hurt making contact. The support leg is also important, and the glutes and the abductors help to create an isometric position to keep the leg stable. This support leg is very important because as the kicking leg is decelerating and accelerating, the movements are very fast, so the support leg and the trunk come together to provide stability for the athlete. The trunk has deep muscles, which are the transverse abdominis, and the superficial, where are the obliques, the rectus, and rectus abdominis. These muscles work together to stabilize and to perform an isometric contraction to prevent hyperextension from being either too far from the ball or following through too soon, which could lead to the loss of stability, which could lead to the athlete falling over. It is also important to focus on the deceleration phase. This is when the hamstrings, which is also known as biceps femoris, semimembranous, and the semitendinosus, allow for the follow-through of the leg, which perform eccentric contractions to slow the leg down. Going over some principles and safeties, some of the forces involved are internal muscle forces, which these are simultaneous contractions of the quadriceps and the hips. This is where the hip flexors reach acceleration. Another force, there's two more forces, which is gravity and ground reaction force, which are present. Gravity is helping the body stay down, so when we're going into kicking phase, we're not just jumping up, we're staying down to the ground. And then the ground reaction force, this supports the kicking leg, as it also helps with the stability because it is keeping the support leg down to the ground. Some of the critical elements have to do with stability, the timing, and the sequential order. Stability is really important because this is a faster movement, so as our leg goes backwards and it goes forwards, we need to make sure that the trunk is stable while also making sure that our support leg is stable, not extended, not hyperextended, or not in any displacement way too far from the ball because this could lead to serious injuries. The timing and the sequential order are very essential for the transfer of energy from each muscle. Every muscle is connected and it helps the action perform efficiently. So if there's a sequential order messed up, this could lead to some serious injuries from the injury. Some of the errors and the safety concerns are the support leg being too far from the ball, which leads to hyperextension affecting the body's center of mass, which also increases the risk of MCL strains, which is also known as valgus stress. Another injury could be from not locking the ankle, so the lack of plantar flexion, which would then result in the soft tissue absorbing the shock. There's many injuries that come from not locking your ankle or not having enough isometric contraction in your hips and in your support leg. All of these movements work together to perform an efficient and a safe instep soccer kick.